So yeah, really excited to be here. The QR code is a revolutionary new tool that ONDC network has initiated, and we're all excited that you can be here and experience that with us, right? The Seller QR code is a revolutionary new tool that is a key milestone in the journey of ONDC's mission to make digital commerce equitable for all. And like with all milestones, the ONDC ecosystem will be the driving force of implementation to scale. So we really want to take this opportunity once again to welcome you at the alpha launch of the ONDC QR code. We have with us leaders from our various network participants, including Kiko, OTP, and MagicPin. And if we're lucky, Koshi will at some point switch to Hindi for some comic effect. Yeah. So, Koshi, please, can we have a round of applause, everyone? Thank you.
Good morning and welcome. You would have all heard this word again and again when we talk about ONDC's democratization. Two big things that such a open network offers, democratization offer. See, if you really look at what happens in whether it is in e-commerce, whether it is in food, whether it is in consumer goods, whether it is in food, whether it is in... And they are very innovative within that integrated offering. And the challenge about that is that if you are able to create such walled gardens, it can preclude any other new entities coming in. That means the innovations, everything is within that walled community, and that walled community often, or not often, always have a certain segment. Even in the physical world, that is how it is. We know very many walled communities in Delhi and Gurgaon and so on and so forth. Different scales of walled communities. And all the innovations are focused on that community of users and maximizing that community's holders, shareholders' value. And if I have, let's say if I have a new innovation, a new offering, that new offering is successful if I am able to get that offering to be relevant to any of the existing platforms and sell that idea to them, or become an addendum to that idea, to that platform with that idea. Otherwise you have no use. And in an open network it completely breaks. In fact, I'm sure that some of you are very familiar, might have observed one very interesting proposition that came as an, I'll just give an example, as how an innovation completely changed the way the business runs. If he goes to an existing logistics place, we have some of them here, is that they will not want to integrate for a one restaurant. If you're a large chain like Domino's, then if I'm a logistics company, it makes sense for me to do all the integration. If I have a large customer base, like OTP here, then he can set up his own logistics service. He can optimize. But if I'm a small, medium restaurant, I can't. And if I try to do that, it comes at a higher price. So the platforms have an advantage there. That's why some innovative network participants came and said, I will make logistics as a service open. So he said, I will not, the one who started was of course Ola. He said, I will not make it available, I will not do one-to-one tie-up with existing players. So we said, in this open world with the multiple buyer applications and multiple seller applications, if the power is going to the seller, how can we amplify this power? That is all about this QR code. So the QR code, that's why we have made it in a slightly different design, so that you don't get confused with the payment QR code. So we also put a trolley there. That is just to tell you that this is the good side and not the money side. What it says, it's a very generalized specification we have done. So any seller will have the ability to create either their products or their store's QR code. And that store's QR code can be published. So supposing I come to your shop, bought something and say that next time don't even have to come, just scan. You'll come to my shop. Use any of the ONDC buying application. You don't need, for example, the other buying applications like Paytm, like OTP, MagicPin, all of them are there. So I as a user may be comfortable with one, I may be using, I may be having multiple. So that जो भी आपको अच्छा लगता है आप use कर दीजिए. Scan कर दीजिए, it will come to that shop. So eventually look at the possibilities. I mean, this is just starting. Even when the payment QR code started 5, 6 years, 8 years ago, okay, Nobody could even figure out what the hell it is, how the hell it is going to change. But it changed the life. So we expect that in the next 1 year we'll see similar kind of things happening. So our ambition of our marketing team is there should be 500 million QR code out in the market between the sellers and the product. Just imagine the possibilities, not that it is all there today. Just imagine the possibilities. Let's when you have many of the Kirana stores and grocery stores all live. Just imagine that Unilever, who's a maker of Dow soap, or ITC, the Ashirwad Atta people. I'm just giving some. So let's say that they have a full page advertisement at the bottom. Okay, and when it scans, it's realize if I scan it in Green Park, it says, you're in Green Park. You're looking for Ashirwad Atta. This is the nearest shop where Ashirwad Atta is there. But I'm in Bangalore. It will bring up the shop there. So the power is now in the brand. In fact, that's why we are also seeing some of the innovative applications. We are not yet able to take anybody's thunder. That's why you see the newspaper guys, the media guys have come as a viral. Just started investing Jainik Jagran as a viral. And with that, many other, I don't want to take anybody else's thunder, saying that, many more coming. Even the shopping experience. So they could be giving, they might be having a TV advertisement at the bottom, scan this QR code. Earlier you had to say, dial 1, 2, 3, 4 and place the order. Here they just scan it and take you to that product, that shop nearby. The shop may give. So classified will become not just an awareness building exercise, but an awareness and action exercise. So these are the possibilities. I'm just dreaming. But many people have started dreaming about the possibility. So we have given the tool, the QR code launch today is such a trigger. Like I said about the logistics in 3 months' time, from 100 to 50,000, and I'm sure that by end of the year it will be another 0 added. I'm very sure that the QR code as an idea will trigger lots of thoughts to smart techies and smart businessmen to find smarter use cases. And so that's why I'm very excited about it today. So we wanted to share this excitement. So we have also had some of our network participants to come here and debate out the possibilities of innovation. And I'm thankful to all of you for joining us and in each step of the journey that we are taking. And these steps is what we are helping us to see a good traction. I'm sure that today UPI is very common for all of us. It looks so obvious, but it had its own journey. The ideas, UPI as a project was started in 2013. They started coding in 2014 beginning, and it was in 2017-18 built up its momentum. We are seeing similar kind of momentum building up. Last year, this time in July, I think we had about 1.6 or 1.7 million transactions. And this month then we are sure it will do about 11.5 million transactions. And I'm sure that similar kind of numbers, the traction, practically growth is what we are expecting. And I believe that this new innovation will be one of the drivers. And you can expect a lot more drivers to come in the coming days, and my team is all working on it. And I don't want to again take away the excitement of announcing themselves. So I leave it to them to announce with all of you present and being supportive to us. Thank you.
We discussed the ONDC North Star, right? But none of that would be possible without our ecosystem participants and our MPs pushing for momentum and demand generation, right? So that's key for all of us here. It's an important part of how we're looking to drive the ONDC movement. So we have today a panel discussion that's going to be moderated by Rajita Gupta. So Rajita, can I invite you on stage, please? Rajita is VP Communications at ONDC. Can we have a loud panel? We have Alok Chavla, the co-founder of Kiko. We have Varun Rana, co-founder OTP. And we have Naman Mabandia, Senior VP Enterprise Brands.
As a phenomena for the sellers and also for the customers in today's world. I have this very distinguished panel here with Alok Chawla, who's the CEO for Eco. We have Varun, who's the founder for OTP, and we have Naman, who's joining us from Magic Pill. So my first question is to you, Alok. You've been doing some great work in the kirana store, in the grocery category per se. What do you think is from a demand generation point of view, what are those few things that you're doing currently? And from a seller's point of view, how important do you think it is for the sellers to be able to generate their demand on an online medium? I mean, offline, of course, everybody does, but on an online medium, how important is it to give the control to the sellers to maybe be able to generate their own demand?
And so we'll begin with just a slight introduction that we at Eco are enabling retailers, primary grocery retailers to come online, build their online presence, and of course sell on ONDC, be available there. We've started off, and we've found this by multiple experimentation, but we found that demand generation for a retail store generally happens in his neighborhood. So with that learning, we've gone around doing a lot of activities in housing societies around. So when we activate a store, we spend a week, 10 days helping him get the flywheel started. So the activities happen also in the market where the store is, because obviously people who buy from him are in the market and shopping. So to an extent also educating the customer about the concept of ONDC itself and how this store of yours where you buy regularly from is online. And you can just shop from him online. Typical store behavior, as we all understand, for regular stores is you walk to the store when you want to buy a reasonably large amount of products. But when you want to buy 2 or 3 SKUs, the behavior has become such that you're buying online, right? And so these stores are seeing that my existing customer who's buying from me now, but when he wants fewer products, he's just buying it online. Or maybe if he's very loyal, he's making a phone call or sending a WhatsApp, but then it's not very efficient, timely deliveries don't happen. So I think that's also one more thing we learned, and then we started telling sellers that start educating your own customers that when you want smaller quantities of orders, you can still buy it online from me and get the same online experience of other quick commerce applications.
I would now like to go ahead to Varun. We heard Alok speaking about the ways the demand generation activities are happening and how it's kind of made an impact on the overall ecosystem. From you, what I would want to particularly know is what are the challenges, what are the problems, or maybe in the current ecosystem, what are the areas of improvement or maybe challenges that the sellers are currently facing from from an ecosystem point of view, which the current innovations or current ways of working are not able to solve.
Sure. So quick introduction. So at OTP, we are a farm to fork player for fruits and vegetables. We started our journey on ONDC as a seller app, and we would obviously procure from the farmers and we would do early morning deliveries to consumers. So यहाँ तक हम करते थे. From a journey standpoint, I would say we are there on most of the popular buyer apps. तो हम you'll find us on Paytm, No Broker, इन सब पे आप हमें देखोगे. So I think overall the great part about being at ONDC obviously is कि your visibility goes way beyond what you would do from just your own app. So आपके efforts के beyond आपकी visibility बढ़ती है, which is great. And the way if you talk about the challenges that we face, right? So I think हमारे उसमें if I just go step by step, तो fruits and vegetables as a category देखो हमारा ना repeat तो अच्छा होता ही है. मतलब just to give you a perspective, मतलब 90% consumers जो अगले महीने को पिछले एक महीने वाले होते हैं, that is just the nature of our business. तो वो अच्छा रहता है. And one challenge that we saw along the way was that the context. तो क्या है कि you can be live on many buyer apps, but उस buyer app पे जब वो consumer आ रहा है तो क्या वो उस mindset से आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा है, that will determine the possibility that he will click on your icon and end up buying or not. तो मतलब हमने उसमें कॉन्टेक्चुअली थोड़ा डिफरेंस देखा है. तो फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू आर ऑन पेटीएम विच हैज़ अ वेरी लार्ज कंज्यूमर सेट, उसमें से परसेंटेज जो हो सकता है आप पे क्लिक करें वो थोड़ा कम हो, क्योंकि वो ना जनरली ग्रोसरी माइंडसेट से नहीं आ रहे होंगे फॉर एग्जांपल, ठीक है. एंड अगर आप किसी और को देखोगे तो हो सकता है आपको वहाँ थोड़ा ज़्यादा मिले. सो दैट इज वन डिफरेंस दैट यू डू सी. And overall, this whole QR code concept is also something that I've kind of been a part of the discussions that as and when they happened at ONDC. So it's very comforting because as a seller, often at times, see, we also have our ways of reaching to consumers. देखो हम भी पहुंचते तो हैं, right? And there were times जब हम actually अपने consumers को बोलना चाहते थे कि भाई आप हमारा प्रोड्यूस ना पेटीएम से ले लो, अभी बहुत अच्छी वहाँ पे वो डील मिल रही है, राइट? एंड इट वाज वेरी हार्ड टू कम्युनिकेट दैट. तो आई थिंक दिस इज वन स्टेप व्हिच विल I would say fast track that journey. So I'm very hopeful हमारा integration efforts be ongoing as per चल रहे हैं. So I'll look forward to the success of this initiative.
That's very good, Varun, and that's what we all are looking forward to actually. So yeah, the concept in itself is quite promising. Coming on to you now, Naman. So ONDC and Magic Pen have been working really closely, and we've been doing a lot of demand generation activities. If you read about a product, you like the offer, you can click and you can reach to the actual buyer app to buy it. So these are few initiatives that we've done at our end. I would like to know from you, from a buyer app perspective, what are those things that Magic Pen is doing to facilitating the demand generation efforts at the seller's level? Mind you, just giving the power of generating the demand for themselves to the seller and not being dependent, on an app per se. So, are there any specific initiatives that you are driving or you are taking or thinking of taking in future?
Yeah. Right. So at Magic Pen we are doing multiple things to enable the sellers to have the power to reach out to different kind of users, right? For example, we've done BTL activities with them, right? And that works very effectively because at the moment of the transaction, where the customer is walking into the offline store, if while the customer is doing that transaction, the merchant can create an offer that if you go to ONDC and do an online order, you'll get something extra, right? That puts the power in the hand of the seller to create offers that allow for more transactions to happen on ONDC. For example, like all sellers want to find a way to move away from existing aggregators or digitize and get their existing customers to go online, and they want to pay lower commissions, right? Best way for that to happen is get the user to go into ONDC. So let's say if a user walks into a cash store and does an offline transaction, the seller can say that next time you go and you want to order from home, you get a free chai if you order above 100 rupees of my store on any of the ONDC buyer apps, right? By the way, that can be done on the QR code as well, where on the QR code, the merchant can create a way in which on the seller app, they can enable this order, and that gets pushed onto all the buyer apps. So when the user then scans this, they know that there's an offer that next time I can sit at home and order, right? So it allows for a lot of distribution and reach to users of their own, where they now need to pay much less and get them in the habit of generating demand on ONDC. Other things is like there were tapes that we sent, right? So when a customer is ordering, now they're seeing tapes of ONDC come, and there you put a QR code and allow the customer now to order next time. So every time you create this way of remembering that, hey, I can order from ONDC and my favorite app like Ola or Paytm to order from there, that enables a lot of joy for the seller because he's now starting to reach a lot more customers and pay less. Other things that we've enabled the seller to do is say, like just promote one SKU, give a very fast moving SKU at a low price point, right? Let's say if you can promote a chole bhature that you're selling for 100 rupees and sell that for 49, right? That gets the customer in a habit to now come and click a button and close the transaction through just one click, right? And that is in the hands of the seller to activate that on the seller app and allow that to reach all the buyer apps in the market and create demand for ourselves.
But we just invite Shirish Joshi. Can we have a round of applause for Shirish Joshi?
Right, so we heard the mission of ONDC, the idea of democratization, bringing power to individual sellers at the length and breadth of the country. We also heard from our participants and various efforts that they are doing to bridge the gap between this new way of commerce and the adoption of it. Whether it is the workshops and the activations that Kiko-Live does, whether it is the model that OTP has created, whether it is the user experience that MagicFin is doing, all of them are working to create this bridge. Now, let's see how this will work, and I will call upon a couple of volunteers. Sir, could you join me? Yeah, come on stage. So we'll demonstrate. Manik, if you could just embed the address, because this is the first demonstration, so just help them. Now, the idea of QR code, because a lot of people say we already have QR codes, how does this help? And more importantly, what is the onus on demand generation? Let me take you back to the familiar e-commerce world. Right? Today we have a platform e-commerce world, and the mindset and the expectation is that a seller is registered on a large marketplace, and now for any activity to drive demand, you have to pay that marketplace to get the right position, the right position and listing. You have no control. Right? So one option is now to pay a large sum of money in addition to the cost of commission to be able to drive your demand. Now we're looking at ways in which the demand can come to the seller. Now, anybody who is a seller has become a seller or a maker because they believe what they make or what they have created has a value, is something unique. Whether it is a farmer who grows a produce because they have a demand, whether it is somebody who makes a toy because a toy will have a demand, somebody who makes a garment because the garment will have a demand. Every restaurant believes that the way they cook their food is just that much unique. So everybody who has created something to sell has something unique to say. But the world of e-commerce flattens it all to the idea of price, discounts and deals. There is no opportunity to explain what is unique and special about your product and then to be able to promote it. The relationship between the customer and seller is also precious. All of us know sellers for whom we will count on for something specific. Whether it is food, whether it is apparel, whether it is stationery. We all have these dependable sellers who we go to when we really want to be sure we want something. That's a long trusted relationship that both the seller and customer have built. Now, how do we bring that onto e-com? So we'll talk about the, are they ready? Yes. Okay. So why don't you come on up and why don't we connect one of the phones to the screen so we'll be able to observe how this is taking place. But before that, let me show you how a QR code gets created. So in any browser, type qrmaker.ondc.org. You can see the URL on top. Enter and you get this. This is a utility. In this, type your store name. So one example of a restaurant that is now available is Dana Choga. So I will just type Dana Choga. Now this has multiple locations. So I look at store address and I get options. So let's say I want to start the Shahpur store. And I say generate QR and voila. So now I have a ready to print QR code. Importantly, it also has instructions. So when a customer comes to the shop, you don't have to yourself explain. You can of course explain, but it's ready to go. Right? So you can now just simply print and paste and your shop is ready to be ordered. So now let's connect one of these phones. So this is Audi Canteen. This is the canteen on the campus. Why don't you place some order right now? Since it's on campus, maybe they can deliver while we're still in discussion. Now, you might think, what's the big deal, right? Why don't I just call the seller if I know the seller? Well, of course you can, but for a call to happen, the seller has to be available on the number to take your call right there and then. You cannot place an order anytime. Right? So, QR code now gives you the freedom to place your order anytime you want to, and as soon as the seller sees it, they can then pack and ship that order. So now it doesn't have to be synchronized. You can do it in the middle of the night, you can do it when you're away, you can do it on a holiday when the shop is closed. The vendor also have that flexibility that they don't have to be constantly available somewhere where they have to be called. They can receive the order so they can service it. So creates additional freedom. Also creates a way for the seller themselves to now do a lot more activities. So all sellers have now, or most sellers have now started using WhatsApp to talk to their customers. Some of them build lists on which they will send messages that, okay, new item is available. Now you don't have to do that. You can just simply share the QR code and the customer can directly place an order. Commerce should not not be difficult. And so this just demonstrates how easy it is. Of course, not always will you have a shop right next door to where you are, so it may take a bit longer, but it is that simple. So with this, I hope all of you are excited about this new phase in journey of ONDC and the power it will bring to everyone, consumers and sellers alike. डिलीवरी टाइम इस पे निर्भर करता है कि ग्राहक कहाँ पर है और विक्रेता कहाँ पर है। खाना मंगाने की जहाँ बात आती है वहाँ 30 से 45 मिनट पे डिपेंड करता है कितना दूर है आ जाता है, कुछ में 1 घंटा भी लग सकता है अगर वो थोड़ी दूरी पे है। अगर हम किसी दूसरे शहर से मंगा रहे हैं तो उसमें कुछ दिन लग सकते हैं। तो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक का आइटम है, फैशन का आइटम है या किचन का आइटम है, वो अगर दूसरे शहर से आ रहा है तो उसमें टाइम लग सकता है। कुछ जगह वो सिस्टम ही ऐसा है या मॉडल ऐसा, जैसे OTP के वरुण जी ने बताया, उनका मॉडल है कि आज आप ऑर्डर करो, अगले दिन सुबह आपके घर पे आ जाएगा। तो वो ग्राहक जानता है कि अच्छा ये सिस्टम है कि आज जो उन्होंने ऑर्डर दिया है वो सब इकट्ठा होकर अगले दिन सुबह पहुंच जाएगा। तो ये आइटम पे डिपेंड करता है, विक्रेता ने क्या सर्विस तैयार की है उस पर डिपेंड करता है, और ये अंतर क्या है, दूरी क्या है ग्राहक और विक्रेता के बीच में, तो ये इस पे निर्भर करता है। पर अगर जहाँ तक कि जो क्विक डिलीवरी का सवाल है तो खाना 1 घंटे से अंदर कम में आ जाता है।
सर ये चार्जेबल भी है या?
चार्जेबल है क्योंकि डिलीवरी की भी कॉस्ट लगती है। तो कोशिश जी जैसे बता रहे थे कि डिलीवरी में भी अब इनोवेशन आ रहा है। पहले तो हमारे पास रेगुलर व्हीकल्स थी, अब इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स भी आ गई हैं हमारे डिलीवरी पार्टनर्स के जरिए। तो ये डिलीवरी की मात्रा भी बढ़ रही है। जो 1 करोड़ जून में हमारे ऑर्डर हुए थे उसमें से 10 लाख सिर्फ डिलीवरी के ऑर्डर थे। तो डिलीवरी की भी एक परचेज हो रही है कि अच्छा हमको डिलीवरी सर्विस चाहिए, तो 10 लाख डिलीवरी भी हमारे नेटवर्क पे मौजूद है और वो भी बढ़ रही है।
कितने प्रोडक्ट्स अभी ऑनलाइन में?
6 करोड़ तक प्रोडक्ट आ गए हैं।
Thank you, everybody. I am acutely aware that I'm the only person standing between you and lunch, so I will try to make this quick. First of all, thank you to all our external participants, to Alok, Naman, and Varun for taking the time, and to all your teams for also being here joining us today at this event. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedules to be here.